Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the darkest timeline. It's just me, just rambling. They call me a rambling man, and today I'm rambling about my weight being completely out of control and not entirely sure what's going on. Pride, being proud, being a proud person. T-shirt sizes, trips to toy shops, and swearing. Yeah, there's a lot of swearing in. TV, movies, games, no VR, I'm afraid. There's a VR block at the moment in me, not in the world, just me. So yeah. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And obviously, the big one, the one we like the most, do share the podcast around. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the darkest timeline. Hello. How you doing? You well? Let me start this by saying, if you are trying to get in touch with us here at CookieCast, keep trying. I don't know if the email box is being spammed or if stuff's not coming through properly, but do keep trying. If you've sent us an email, send it again, resend it, sort of thing, or just email us direct. Now then, thecookiecast.pod@gmail.com. I think. I should check that, really. Sounds right. I could check it. Check it if you want. Let me look. Oh, there's emails. No, I'm wrong. No, it's not it's cookiecast.pod@gmail.com. Shows how much I know. So there you go. And there was emails in there, which I absolutely haven't looked at. So, it's working out quite well for everybody involved. I'd like to start today's podcast. My opening gambit would be, I'd just like to say, fuck everything. Yeah. I could leave it there, but let's not. Let's elaborate. Fuck going to work. Fuck driving. Fuck weekends going in the blink of an eye. I said to somebody today, I was like, I was at work on Friday, and then I was at work this morning being Monday, and I'm reliably informed somewhere in the middle was a weekend, but I have no recollection of it. I need to retire, like now. In a way that I can live out the rest of my days, which obviously is not possible. I'm tired, just in all dimensions, physically, mentally, emotionally. I know I covered physically, but I feel like I should reiterate I'm tired. Which obviously means that it's best time to do a podcast. Let's get this bit out of the way. Straight away out of the way. My weight is out of control. I don't seem to be able to do anything. I've had to make some corrections today, which I'm hoping for good results over the course of the week. But I have put on weight every week for something like 6 weeks. It's getting up there, guys. It's getting up there. So, can somebody explain to me why the weight is going up? And I put a fresh pair of jeans on this morning and worried that my belt wasn't going to be able to actually hold them up because they were so big. And they are, quote unquote, my size, my current size. And I was like, immediately went, well, I guess I know what I'm asking Father Christmas for this year. I've done it again. I've left my jumper on. I'm out. So, there. That's that done. Let's just. It's not because I know that there's something else, but I'm just tired. Tired of. Maybe I'm tired of being tired. You ever think of that? You ever think of that one? Tired of being tired? You know when I'm not tired? The only time I'm not tired is bedtime. That's not true. I'm just being a funky funkatron. Just being funkadelic. I wish I was funkadelic. I've broken a rule at this point. I'm drinking coffee at 26 minutes past 9 because I'm not supposed to. I've decided to not drink coffee past 9 o'clock at night. And right now, I'm working on the principle it's not even going to touch the sides. That's what she said. Like regularly. Let's move on. Last Wednesday. Me and my son, I wanted to do some jobs, and those jobs were what we like to call in our house daddy jobs. So I said, look, I'll cut you a deal. If we can do one daddy job, we will go. I was going to say, where the hell did we go? It's like we were going to go to the park. I was like, where did we go? I was going to make it special. We went to a new park, which is not a new place. It's a redone, a revamped park, and it was kind of cool. Anyway, that's a complete aside. I was like, if we can do one daddy job, we can go somewhere special. And he agreed. Now then, I've become very much aware that there are ways to do things. It involved going to a shop, so we went to a shop. It involved needing to buy one thing, which was 10 items. So although it was one thing I'd gone for, it was 10 items. Gotta get a basket, gotta take a shopping bag. Those are the two things there. So I'm like, if we can get there and back by 10, it's going to be all good. We got to the shop by 9:30. Is that up there? Crystal Collection. Who the hell? Whose is that? And where the hell is it? That is obviously not important. Things appear in my house and disappear, like on my clothes, t-shirts mostly. Long story, doesn't matter. So we go to the shops. We go to the supermarket, supermarché. Honestly, it was protein shakes. I stumbled on these protein shakes that were like, hey, these are like exactly the same as what you've been buying, but they've got shitloads more protein in, and it's like, cheap. I was like, hells yeah. Still going to buy the normal ones, obviously. So I needed 10. I get a basket, we go in, we scoochy through. I was like, I'm trying to avoid other stuff. You guys know I'm a bit of a shopper on a bad day, shall we say? And I didn't have the disposable cash to be dicking around, so I was like, let's just go get it and go. And we did it. And I filled the basket with my 10 items, and we go to find a till. And my son's like, Daddy, what about this one? I was like, that one's broken, mate. Like all the front of it was up in the air. And he was like, Daddy, what about this one? I was like, that one is also broken. Again, front up in the air. He's like, what about this one? I was like, there are some things on that one already, but there's nobody there, and I don't know whether somebody's using it. Let's just avoid it. I was like, oh, look, there's one down there. So we go all the way down the self-checkout. Now, personally, I hate self-checkout. And I can go into that extensively, but short version is, I don't want to be recorded while I'm doing my shopping, and I'd rather deal with a person on a till. Simple. However, we get to the thing. I put the basket on the bit where you put your basket, and I turn round. My son's there passing me the protein shakes. I'm like, you're a good helper, you, buddy. Good little helper. And we got through scanning very quickly. And as I'm sort of finishing up and the basket's empty, I'm like, I wonder where we put the basket. Mate, it's a weird sort of pride thing that I'm that person. The person that puts the basket back. Where possible. It's not always possible. But I make a real point of going and putting my basket back. I'm like, buddy, I wonder where the baskets go, because they don't go underneath, and there's nothing at this end. And then I was like, mate, I think it's all the way down there. Now, this is where things get tricky, because part of me goes, do I just leave it here? Knowing full well that somebody is not paid to do that as their job, but it will be part of their job. But like I say, I make it a point of pride. I'm like, well, all this stuff needs paying for and bagging, and I don't want to leave him here while I run halfway down the shop to put the basket in the thing, which I presume is all the way down there. What do I do? So he's like, Daddy, I can take it. I'm like, Now, when you've got a small-ish child, you have like a field of acceptable distance. And when if they ever go through that acceptable distance away from you, you work on the principle they are going to die immediately. Run over by a bulldozer, attacked by a shark, eaten by a tiger is basically where you're at. And the distance was well outside of that range. And I'm like, but I've still got a couple of things to scan. I need to pay, and I haven't done yes, I brought my own bag, so I'm going to have to bag separately. Okay, well, there's also that thing where you should let your children grow. You should let them take responsibility for things. The fact that he wanted to do it was a good sign, that he was helping. He was being a real good helper at that point in time. And if I'm honest, I thought it'd be a bit of a distraction. I was like, you can slowly wander down the store with your basket, get down there, struggle. By the time you're sorted, I'll be sorted here. I can come down, sort the rest of the basket situation, and we can leave together. There are, Wednesday morning people in the shop. I don't think he's going to get abducted. And if he does, you're going to have to go past me, and I'll straight up murder you in the shop. So, okay, buddy. I was like, it's all the way down there, mate. Are you sure you can manage? Yeah, I can manage. All right, buddy, you get that. You do that then, mate, and I'll just finish up here, okay? So off he goes. Obviously, I've got a job to do. He's got a job to do. We've all got jobs. I basically start finishing up my job as quickly as I can because I want to be in a position to go and help. So I'm like, okay, just put these last couple of things through. Yes, that's fine. I want to pay and do the beeps all the time. I'm looking at the machine. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the machine. I'm looking at him. And he's wandering off down the store. And he's a little guy. the basket is, if you stuck the basket on its end, nearly as tall as him. But he's doing well, and he's managing, and he's carrying it, which initially I was impressed enough as I was. I'm getting to the back end. I start bagging the protein shakes. By this point in time, he has reached what we will now refer to as the Tower of Baskets, because I go, shit. The baskets are nearly as tall as he is. And I'm like, he's never going to get that basket into that Tower of Baskets and get it all lined up so it falls in. So I'm just going to get finished up here, and I'm going to go down and help. 1 in, 2 in, 3 in, 4 in, check in. And he's lifting the basket. 5 in, 6 in, 7, 8. I turn and look. He's got the basket high enough to get it in. I'm like, I'm pretty impressed. I'm not going to lie, quite impressed at this. 9 in, 10 in, done. Take my receipt, put it in the bag. By this point I check, and he has got the basket into the Tower of Baskets, but he's gone in at the back. So the basket's in, but it's sticking up at the front. I was like, oh, buddy, you were so close. You were so close. You nearly had it, but that was to be expected. I'll go down and help sort it. It's fine. I'm picking up my shopping, and I'm like, and there's a part of me that's like, I wonder what he's going to do in this situation. Is he going to abandon it? Is he going to be that person that leaves a basket jutting out at a weird angle? Is he going to ask for help? What is he going to do? Well, the answer was that he just carried on. He's jiggling it, and he's moving it, and he's lifting it, and not in in no way and that angry or like frustrated. Just I'm gonna move this to get it in. So at this point, I was like, honestly, I think he's got this under control. I think he's got it. There's no queue. I'm not stopping anybody from using the till. I think I'm just going to stand, and unless he calls me, like, Daddy, I can't get this in, can you come and help? I think I'm just going to leave him to it. So he's jiggling and he's moving and he's shunting and all this, and then, boom, the basket drops in, sweet as a nut. He turns. Now I'm like, oh, is he going to leave? You know where the handles crisscross, and if somebody was to then try and put a basket in there, then they're going to have to. No, handles were in. Handles were down. I'm like, he's done well there. He turns, and he strides down the shop. Never seen anything like it. Strides like a. I was going to say something there, but I wasn't sure it was quite relevant. Strides down the shop. Now, I've said to a couple of people, I was like, I really do think that I should go and try and see if I can get the CCTV footage of the checkout area. Yes, I am aware I said I didn't like to be recorded in the checkout area. Because I knew that my grin was ear to ear. Few things in my life have made me as proud as I was in that moment. I watched that little guy take charge of a situation, go off, and against all odds, now, yes, I appreciate it was putting a basket away. Against all the things that were against him, he persevered and he dominated and then walked back like he was the fucking boss. And right at that moment in time, he absolutely was. And I was like, mate, I'm so proud. You did so well. You've done really well there, buddy. And we walked out like Reservoir Dogs. It was like, yeah, that was awesome. I made a purchase. I understand. I am known for this sort of thing. But believe me, it's not as common as you might think these days. I made a purchase of some t-shirts. I got an offer to get some cheap t-shirts. And I was saying, I don't know if I can spend £40 on 5 t-shirts. I then promptly spent £35 when I went out at lunchtime that day. And it was like the last day of the sale. I promptly went back to work and I ordered those 5 t-shirts. Not a big deal, I hear you say. No, it's not a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. Let me tell you why. I chose 5 designs that I was into. I was down. One that I thought my eldest would very much enjoy, which she did. Another one, which I thought a couple of people, my eldest being one, and Sam at work would enjoy, and I was right. Another one that I bought not just for, because it was for me, but I thought Sam will love this t-shirt. One that is sort of the style I'm into these days, and then one that I wore today. Now I know what you're thinking. What was so special about these t-shirts? The designs themselves, not necessarily the thing that was special. The thing that was special was the size. Because I ordered 5 large t-shirts. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I risked it for a biscuit. And then waited with bated breath. Now then, 2 things. One, I think I spoke about it a little while ago that I'd tested the theory of getting a very cheap large t-shirt to try out. And I worked on the principle that partially, I think it's just because it was cheap, it fit. That's what you tell yourself. It's cheap, it fits. It fits, it sits. Number 2, I recently purchased a t-shirt that was also a large, and I'd tried it on and then worn it later and got away with it, I believe. This was a little more commercial. It came from a supermarket. Now, I probably wouldn't trust the sizes in a supermarket as much as other places, but I'd trust it more than a £5 t-shirt from God knows where. So, a little bit closer to our goal. I purchased 5 large t-shirts and they turned up. And day 1 of having new t-shirts, I said, I'm not going to wear a new t-shirt today. Long story to do with, I didn't want to make it it's really hard to explain without going into the intricate ins and outs of how my Wednesdays work. So instead, I held off and I went with Thursday. Now, Thursday for me, day in the office. Perfect opportunity to test drive a brand new t-shirt. I held my breath as I pulled it out of the packet and put it on. And initially, I started putting it on and I went, this is too small. Once I slipped it over my ample chest, I just pulled the t-shirt on and readjusted it. And as I pulled it on, I went, oh, it fits. Well, there we go. Presumably the other 4 are going to fit. Presumably they'll be almost identical sizes. We're off to the races. So, set off on my merry way. And at some point in time, I was like, I need to go visit the little boy's room. And off I went. In our office, where you walk down to the little boy's room, toilet, they've got mirrors at the end of the corridors, and there was a mirror. And I'm walking down and I was like, oh, never considered that whether a t-shirt fits or not is one thing. Whether it shows off all the lumps and bumps is something else. I was like, ugh, gross. I mentioned this to Leanne later. She said I was being oversensitive. And I have now been through. Today was the last day for the t-shirt number 5 out of the packet. I've worn them all. They are destined to never be seen again because, as I said before, cannot keep hold of t-shirts in this house. I rattled off an actual list of t-shirts that I've never seen to Leanne. Her response was, yeah, they're gone. It's like, cool, it's good to know that, I'm not hallucinating right now. Now, I've talked at length about, what it's like for a man with the mentality of a fat man, very fat man, to be the kind of guy who's like, hey, I purchased a t-shirt, it was large. And I don't expect everybody to be able to truly comprehend what it's like. What I will say is this, I'll give you a little idea. Wearing a large t-shirt for me means I've gone down 5 t-shirt sizes. I may have covered this previously because I'm pretty sure I said this as well. When I was a teenager, I know I've said this before, I'm just sort of tying it all together. When I was a teenager, I moved into the extra large t-shirt and thought it was the greatest thing ever because I never comprehended that there was such a thing as a extra large. And in my teenage brain, extra large meant big. And a friend of mine had a workout, like a jumper kind of thing. I could explain what it is. It would just take me about 9 hours to make. Like, I feel like in the 90s, every bodybuilder had one of these tops. And a mate of mine had one, and it was 2XL. And I was like, whoa, that's what bodybuilders wear. Whoa. And then years later, obviously, I discovered that, you have to buy 4XL t-shirts when you're absolutely fucking huge. So I'm just trying to get across. Can you comprehend what it's like to go down 5 t-shirt sizes? Now, I will say this, because this is also something to take into account. I'm pretty sure at the start of this year, I was possibly still in the 2XL range. I had a look today to see, because obviously my weight's been so awful recently, I had a look today to see what I started the year at, because I made a note of it on my thingy-mabob. You see, that there doesn't tell me. It must be the other one. Oh, here we go. Right, the lowest last year is 3 stone. The lowest last year is 3 stone heavier than I am right now. And I started 6th of January, 4 stone heavier than I am now. So I can kind of imagine being 2XL t-shirt at that point in time. So yeah, even that, going from a 2 down to an extra large, down to a large, and quite frankly, I could probably go a medium if I really want. I don't believe that that's true, but you never know. Never know where we're going to be next year. The rate things are going. I need to dig out my extra large t-shirts because apparently I'm just getting fat. Going back to that weight thing, I was like, maybe it's one of those things where, I don't know, maybe my legs are getting, like, jacked. Maybe my arms are getting jacked. Maybe I should take my body fat percentage measurements again. I took the first one and went, fuck. I've put that, whatever it was, 2 inches or whatever, back. So I'm not going to bother with the rest of the measurements, and I'm just going to go about my day. So, honestly, I don't know what is going on. Other than the fact that I said I wasn't going to talk about it again. I haven't started buying, but I have started the process for that thing that happens at the end of the year. I took all the children, not all the children, because one of my children probably doesn't need to go to a toy shop to list out what she wants. That thing that happens at the end of the year. I nearly said it then. Did you hear me? I nearly said it. I took 3 children to the toy shop on Sunday, and so it ensued. First aisle, nothing really. There was like bikes and scooters and like electric cars and stuff like that, which my son has already asked for a bike for Christmas, and my daughter has already asked for a scooter for Christmas. And I wouldn't want to say too much about that, but I believe Father Christmas already has those items. My middle daughter has a very, very, very nice bike. I wouldn't want that to give you any impression about whether it was the most expensive bike in the shop, but it's very nice and she doesn't ride it. So, win-win there. So we didn't need bikes and scooters. My daughter has a skateboard. She highlighted that while we were there. She did make a comment about roller boots, and I kept us moving. So, first aisle, donezo. Sweet. We moved on to the next aisle, which was board games. Now, there's a part of me that thinks that you should sort of go back to board games. I remember there was a thing that, like, every year you were supposed to get a board game. And I think for a long time as children, we did. I'm pretty sure we got a board game at Christmas. And I know that, like, Leanne mentioned it to me at some point about, you're supposed to get a board game at Christmas. I was like, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? However, when nowadays your board games are usually something snot or poo related, I was like, let's move on, shall we? We did see a couple that looked kind of interesting. There was a Pictionary one that I believe was some sort of potato. And there was one that seemed to say it was a cow tornado, but there was no sign of a cow. So I couldn't work that one out. And in the end, I was like, let's just move on. 2 aisles down. Boom. That was about as far as we made it before things got real tricky, because we went into the Lego section. One child was already like, I want that. It's like, no, it's 65 quid. One child's like, there's that thing I've asked Father Christmas for. I was like, yes, there is that thing you've asked Father Christmas for. Next to one that's better. Do you not want to get the other one? I want them both. Fuck. Then somebody whose voice sounded a lot like mine went, hey, there's that thing I've asked Father Christmas for. I got out of Lego. I wasn't allowed Lego. Because it was too convenient. It was back in the days it was reasonably priced and you could get it and you'd build it and it had all these sort of elements. And then we just ended up with a lot of Lego. So that was it. That was the end of the Lego. And then one day, somebody, not me, bought some Lego. Next thing I'm like, I guess we're doing Lego again, aren't we? And now I'm staring at I would say 2/3 built Batman Tumbler Lego set, which I'm not going to lie, looks fucking awesome. I put the wheels on it yesterday. It's sexy as hell. So yeah. So we went through the Lego section and they were like, oh, Daddy, you should get this one. And, oh, Daddy, you should get this one. And, oh, Daddy, what about this one? I'm like, hang on a minute. We're not here for me. We're here for you guys. But yes, I'll make a note of them. Thank you. And then we moved into, there's like the pink aisle, which is just Barbie and dolls and all this. And as time went on, like, one of my daughters was like, oh, Daddy, can you put this on my list? And I was like, the fuck? She's like, yeah, I want that. I'm like, the fuck is that thing? And it was like, Dissect the Frog kit. I'm like, bro. Seriously? Yeah. And has mentioned it since, like, has talked, like, I was going to say emphatically. I should probably look that word up. I won't do it now. I'll do it another time. And I'm like, okay, we're moving along. My son's like, I want this, I want some Lego, I want this. That's that thing I asked Father Christmas. And my daughter's like, get me a frog. And I'm like, oh, okay. We're moving along, and then I start worrying. I'm like, my other daughter hasn't really said much. Hasn't really been like, oh, can you take a picture of this? Or oh, can you make a note of this? All right. We turn onto an aisle, and I go, oh, look, we must be in the aisle. Daddy, can you take a picture of this? Oh, and this. Oh, and this. Oh, and look at this. Can you take a picture? I was like, fuck, bro. So in the space of like one aisle, my daughter managed to essentially fill her Christmas list. I'm like, you know what you like, don't you? Problem we've got is, because she's like very much like, I like this and I like this. She's like, I want it all, not like that. It's like, I really like this one. This one's my favourite. But this one's my second favourite. And this one, I also like this one. And I'm like, what's the sort of rule? Like, if you've got a child that's like, let's say, for example, I'm pulling this out of thin air. Let's say you've got a child who is like, I like football and this is my team and I love my team. And this year I would like a football kit. Okay, well, you got the socks, the shorts, the shirt. You maybe do the shin pads, you maybe do the boots, you'd maybe do a ball. You know, if it's like a special gift sort of thing, you'd maybe go all out. It's a lot of stuff for the same thing. But if that's their passion, would you get them all? So if your child, for example, you have a daughter who says, I like this doll, or this doll from this thing, you go, cool. And she's like, and they're all my favourite, so I'm going to put them all on my list. Would you get them all? Because that's kind of where I'm like, I don't think I can buy you like 3, 4, 5 dolls that are all the same brand, but obviously different characters. I'm a bit like, I don't know what the best, do you say pick 2? In fact, honestly, I think that's probably what we're going to end up doing. Do you say, well, you can get this and then you can get like some accessories or something? By the end, they all had a Christmas list, and I was like, right, we now need to go home and you need to write your lists. So they wrote the lists. Leanne has then gone through them with a fine tooth comb and basically gone, you're not getting 60% of this stuff. Especially because one daughter picked an item which was £65, and both of us were like, we'll put it with your other one that you don't play with, shall we? And one of my children, I was about to say, who shall remain nameless, and then went and picked a makeup set that was 60 quid. 60 quid for a makeup set. I was like, bro, dream on. So yeah, there's going to be some careful management. We've toyed with the idea of like a monetary system, like you can have this much money and this is how much things cost. So do the maths. Wondered about doing it that way. And setting the bar kind of low this year. However, it'll be a big Christmas for us. So I've kind of done that. When it's a big Christmas, we should do a big Christmas. And when it's a smaller, quieter Christmas, we should do a smaller, quieter one. And that way, over 2 years, you can do one big, one small, and it evens out. So I might get stung by the fact that it's going to be a big Christmas. Yeah. I have been working on my swearing round children. I did some amazing self-editing this evening whilst I was working out in the gym and my son's watching the TV. And I managed to self-edit all of my swears. I thought that was kind of cool. And a couple of other bits and bobs here and there. I'm not great when I'm not in the same room because I kind of trick myself into thinking I can get away with it, which still isn't right. And what you don't want to hear is this. Mummy, while you were at the shops, Daddy swore at me. I'm like, I didn't. You did this. I'm like, that's not swearing, that's something else. So, like with a series of things that I'm trying to change and correct and adjust and all of this, I'm even toying, I don't know if I mentioned this the last time, but I'm even toying with doing a swear jar. Because, my point is I want to get it right. And when I did it originally, when I did it the first time, when my eldest was little, and I was like, I've got to sort my swearing out. I did really well with it. I'd basically broken the habit. And then once I passed a certain point, I was literally like, fuck it. However, something else has come across my plate. And I think we all know what it's going to be. And I think we all know that it was expected. And I think we all know that it probably should have been corrected along the way. But there's been a couple of instances where my driving... We don't use the phrase road rage in this house. At least I don't, because, but we say driving anger. At least I'm going to start trying to implement that. We don't use the phrase road rage. I've been doing well with stuff. I've been doing okay with stuff. I was like, oh, I don't need to this, I don't need to that, I don't need to the other. And then somebody maliciously cut me up in a car park, and I proceeded to, I'm sure you can imagine, and I was not on my own, and I was like, okay, I can leave it, I can let it go, it's fine. And then the person in question proceeded to continue doing what they were doing. I was like, fuck you, you fucking fuck. But I wasn't on my own, and I'm like, that's not okay. And then I was on my own, and I ended up in a situation on Saturday morning where somebody decided to block the road for zero reason. Block the road. There was a line of traffic going all the way down the street because somebody decided, I'm just going to block the road. That was as simple as it was, for no reason whatsoever. And I'm like, bro, you're in front of me. I can't go anywhere. You need to move that vehicle. There is a line of traffic behind me. You've got to move that vehicle. Nothing. And I gave a couple of little toots on the horn. Nothing. I'm like, I'm going to have to go up on the pavement, which is one of those, you've got like the curb, the standard curb. Then you've got like that next level up kind of curb. Then you've got the curb that's like, I'd say a double curb that's got the holes in for like water drainage. This is one of those curbs. So it's twice the size of a normal curb. I'm in the big car and I'm like, I don't know if I can get up here and drive across the edge of the curb without dragging this curb across the bottom of the car. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I don't have much choice because the people behind me are going to start going ballistic. The car behind, I won't reveal this type of car it was, but it was already edging towards the curb. And I was like, if you're doing that, you're thinking you're going round me as well. So I was like, okay. I get up on the curb, I pull up alongside the vehicle, and I'm like, you need to move your vehicle over. And this person was like, no. And I was like, you are blocking the road. You're blocking the entire street. People can't get past, but you can just move over. Move your car 2 feet into the space that is there in front of you. It will affect you in no way, shape or form. Everybody can get past. And we're all in a better position. And their response was no. And then told me to just go about my business. And I was like, now then, couple of things here. I had to be somewhere. And I had to be there at a particular point in time. So I didn't have time for this Mickey Mouse bullshit, to quote Gary Oldman. So I just left it. I tried to do what I needed to, and at this point in time, I was halfway past the person. So I was like, do you know what? Fuck this noise. I'm off. The people behind me, they can deal with it, because I'm not getting anywhere with this person. This person is clearly some sort of, I don't know what. They were a fucking asshole, that's for sure. So I'm like, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. And I just went, and I got where I needed to be, and I got parked, and I was like, there we go. I do wonder if I would be better off if I had the horns removed from my cars. I wonder what that might do for my driving. I wonder about it a lot. But it's also highlighted that I've got to get this shit under control, because saying like, oh, I've done this and I've done that and I've done the other, all falls down the moment I step behind the wheel of a car. So, yeah, it's probably time to correct that. So, entertainment-wise, a couple of bits of, not each, but most. Finished Series 1 of Tokyo Ghoul, moved on to Series 2. I've watched the first 2 episodes. Obviously, Series 2 of Tokyo Ghoul is, in a lot of ways, almost completely different to Series 1. The good guy in Series 1 is kind of the bad guy in Series 2 kind of thing. It's still very good. I just don't feel like I've had the opportunity to be watching it. Me and Leon have watched episode 5 and 6 of Alien Earth. Episode 5 is hands down the best episode so far. Very much like, I wish that they'd have just taken episode 5, stretched it out for 8 episodes, and done that instead of everything else they've done. What I will say is that episode 6 did follow in this is better than the first 4 episodes, but it is not a scratch on episode 5. Episode 5 is hands down what has been the best so far. It was very Alien, and that feels like what you want from a TV series that's based in the Alien universe. But I guess I'm wrong thinking like that. I don't know. I need to have a drink, because the next thing we're going to talk about is extensive. So, watched a movie. Mainly, I'm trying to make the time for films these days because we just don't. We have this sort of, if it's over 90 minutes, we're not going to watch it. If it's over 2 hours, no fucking chance. We sat down to watch a 2-hour, 20-minute movie. And we sat down late. But we persevered and we got through it. And the shortest version is, I'm glad we did. The long version is, this is another one of those films that falls into the category of, I wish, for my own personal use, I could edit films. Like, after I've seen them, I'd love to go back and re-edit them, recut them into a more digestible version. So we watched the film Sinners. Obviously, Sinners has had fantastic reviews across the board. Like, at no point have I heard anything bad about it. I've heard nothing but good stuff. And honestly, by the end, I was like, absolute banger of a movie. Just not all of it. So, 2 hours, 20 minutes. You could get that down to a 90-minute movie really easy by taking 50 minutes of the first hour away. As simple as that. There was so much in the first half of that film that was just unnecessary. You could have told the story of that movie in 10 minutes. But instead, it was an hour and a bit of, here's the thing we're doing, here's the thing, we're going to do this, we need to go get this person, we need to go and do this, we need to get this, we need to introduce these characters at length. And you sat like, I know what this film's about, I know this is a vampire movie. This isn't, there are no vampires in it. What's going on? Once you enter into the second half, it's all worthwhile. Once you get to the second half, you are in a world where you're like, I'm so glad I sat through the first half because I'm very much aware who these characters are now. I know them all. I feel like we've been family for a long time. And now we're into the real meat. Something that started standing out quite quickly was 30 years after its release, we basically got another From Dusk Till Dawn. This is like a spiritual successor to From Dusk Till Dawn. Now, I would say that I know that From Dusk Till Dawn had a lot of like sequels or unofficial sequels or whatever you want. They were largely terrible. I'm pretty sure Robert Patrick was in the second one. And then after that, I know there was a TV series that I'm sure I watched. I want to say some of them. I want to say all of. And I don't think either might be right, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Nothing's really come close. Love it or hate it From Dusk Till Dawn. Phenomenal. But the first half is a road movie and the second half is a vampire film. Sinners, exactly that kind of two movies together. One is about sort of like a black culture, like them trying to like the sort of like the characters are trying to carve out a piece of, essentially like a piece of the world for themselves and bringing in all of these other people and then saying like, we're going to do this and we're going to do this and it's going to be great. And then they get so far and they're like, we did it all and it's not great. And it's like, oh, that didn't quite work out the way we thought it was going to. And then vampires turn up. Spoilers, by the way. And you go, oh, the vampires are here. I presume it's going to get better. And it did. What I will say is this. There are two bits in the first half of the movie that you would absolutely keep. One is a fantastic piece of camera work. And all it is somebody walking to a place and then somebody else walking back. And the camera follows both people. And it was just chef's kiss. The second one was this musical, almost like a music video bit, which was also just exquisite. Just like I had tingles at that point in time. It was awesome. I'd love to see some kind of behind the scenes for that bit because my word, I bet it took weeks to film that section. And then the vampires turn up. Again, spoilers. And at the moment you go, oh shit, this is just From Dusk Till Dawn. The film almost hears you say that and go, oh, balls. You've worked out we were doing From Dusk Till Dawn. Hang on a minute, let's change things. And they completely change it. And you're like, clever, interesting. I like what you've done there. And then they carry on. And then the film ends. And you go, yeah, I like that. I enjoyed it. It could have been a bit quicker in the first half, and I could have done without the majority of the first half. It was so unnecessary. But I really enjoyed the second half. And then the film goes, whoa, hang on. This film's not over. No, there's more. And you go, oh, I didn't feel like there needed to be more, but sure. And then there's this like a huge action scene, and you're like, okay, cool, that's great, thanks for that. And then it's like, okay, film's over. And you're like, cool. And it's like, just kidding, there's more. And you're like, oh, wow, there is more. That's interesting. Okay, cool. Here we go. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, right, okay. And the film's like, and we're finished. We're done. There we go. Only joking. There's more. And by that point you go, oh, but why? Well, what are we achieving here? What's happening right now? We're still going, and it's all fine. It's not Bad Boys 2. You're not like, what the fuck are we doing right now? Because it's relevant, and it's, part of the film, part of the story. It's just like, they're like, oh, but we wanted to tell this. Well, let's tell it. Okay, well, there you go. And then there's an after credit scene. So you get all the way to the end, and there's an after credit scene, and you're like, fuck me. They clearly had a story to tell. It's a great film. It really is. Genuinely, I would love to go back and edit that movie into a more digestible version. The question is it that filmmakers are making films too long, or is it that we have a shorter attention span than we used to? Maybe we can sandwich the two together. All I said was that film just would have been better with a really good editor. That is not to criticise the person that edited it as a film. I'm just saying, let's cut out some of the unnecessary stuff in it. Last point on this film, and then I'm going to move on. I said to Leon at the end, I was like, let me ask you this question. In 6 months' time, if I said to you, hey, shall we watch Sinners? What will your answer be? She was like, probably no, because I don't want to have to sit through the first half. And I was like, exactly. I was like, we own that film now. Reckon there's ever going to be a time that we're going to watch it again, knowing what we've got to sit through? Or would we just fast forward the first hour going, well, we know what happens, let's just watch the second bit? Me, my eldest, and Leanne, the next night, sat down to watch Superman 2025. Now, me and my eldest had seen it. We saw it at the cinema. I bought it not too long ago because it was on offer. Leanne's not seen it, and was open to the idea of watching it. So we sat down and we watched it. Tell you something I realised about that film. It suffers from. I remember when I was a child and I'd seen a film before, I would just sit and wait for the good bits, and I'd be like, "Oh, come on, get to the good bit. Show me the good bit. Show me the bit with Batman, or show me the bit. Ironically, show me the bit with Superman, or or do the superpowers, or do the whatever." And the bits in between you were just like an annoyance, a distraction, a come on, hurry up. Having seen Superman and sitting down the other evening to watch it, I just felt like that. I'm like, oh, come on, get on with it. Just get to the bit where Superman does the fighting bit. Oh, get to the bit where, this bit happens. Or get to the bit where this happens. Or why don't we just skip all this and get to the bit where... And largely I was like... Again, I don't know if that's how we're supposed to feel about stuff like this. Should we not be engaged from start to finish? As an audience, I understand that is incredibly difficult nowadays. Going back to short attention spans and things, going back to that, I feel it's probably now impossible to keep people's attention. I just spent the whole time going, oh, let's get to the next bit, let's get to the next bit. And maybe there's an element of excitement there. Or maybe there's an element of just get on with it. I don't know. Got to the end, said to Lan, what do you think? And she was like, yeah, it was fine. It was okay. I have nothing bad to say about that film. And I went, and nothing good to say about it either. She was like, no, it was fine. It was good. I was like, exactly. It's fine. It's a good movie. If you can say that nowadays, you've probably won by overall, because so few and far between. Computer games. I've just been looking earlier to see that there has been a second update for Into the Radius 2 that I have not played the one before it, and I'm like, I've got to get back to playing that game. Mental block is what I'll say there. However, the games that I have been playing, I'm going to flip these. I've been playing DC Universe Online, mostly with my eldest, but I do bits in between so I can, stay one step ahead of the curve. I'm quite high level at this point in time, but the content seems to be wearing thin a little. Like a lot of the time I spend my time going, oh, I need to go and do this so that I can get that piece of currency so I can buy more armor. That's all fine. But then a lot of the time I'm like, oh, I guess I should go and do this, and I should trick this. Oh God, that's not fun. So there's a lot of banging my head against a wall. And when me and my eldest are playing, it's very enjoyable. And when she's not here to play, it's a bit grindy. And it's grinding me a little. But there's a part of me that feels like I can't just wander off and play something else because I'm not doing my bit, sort of thing. So I'm in this bit of a weird, I don't know. I've been playing Chronos: A New Dawn. And unfortunately, what's probably the inevitable with this game has happened. I have reached a point where I can't progress. I've been talking to Sam, who has also been playing it. He is in a completely different position to me. He's got ammo coming out of his ears. He's got upgrades that I never got. He has progressed further than I am now. Quite a lot further than I am now, and he is just saying to me, if you are in the position that you say you are in, at the point you're at, you can't progress any further. You, for want of a better way of putting it, have done it wrong. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of gathered. He's like, what is your opinion on starting again? I was like, honestly, I was going to look at picking it up on the PlayStation in a sale of some description. The problem I've got is I think it's too soon for a sale to make it, like a reasonable price to purchase when I already own it. He was like, what, can you do this? I was like, I just don't have the resource to do it. And if I did, I'd be completely tapped out. He's like, the problem you've got is the bit that comes after the bit that you're at is similar, and if you've got no ammo or resource at this point in time, you are just not going to be able to do it. So I am toying with the idea of restarting the game. I rage quit yesterday and I sent a message to Sam. I was like, I'm done, I'm out. And he was like, that's what I expected. But there is a small part of me, having watched multiple videos, that still thinks I can do it. So I might have one more go and see. I genuinely don't know if I've ever played a game like this. A game that is too hard for me, yet I keep plugging away at it and apparently somehow still manage to keep progressing. I will let you know what I decide. I'm toying with the idea of starting a new game and running it concurrently with trying to get past where I am now. But I'll see, is what I'll maybe say there. There we go. That's it. That's the podcast for this time, for this week, for this moment in life. I will catch you next time. So there you go. What do you think of that? Another one done, another one gone. Big thank you for watching, big thank you for listening, big thank you for being here. Before you leave us, click a few buttons. We all like clicking buttons. We do it all the time. So, click the like, share, subscribe, comment, review buttons. And then, well, after that, you can check out the website. That's more button clicking. Go to the website, click the email button and drop us a line. cookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button if you do want to drop us an email. Or, as I mentioned at the beginning of this one, just email us directly. The website's being a bit weird at the moment. I think people are spamming it. I think that's what's going on, but don't quote me. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I will see you then.
This is a Cookie Cat production.